months ago, we drove the 718 GT4 RS and I thought it was the absolute best car I'd driven in the country. Porsche motorsport engine, insane handling. But now we have the GT3 RS. And honestly, I'm absolutely lost for words. 11 years ago, I took a picture of myself with a yellow 911. This is that picture. This was shot in front of the Gateway of India when I was working at Porsche. So I'd done 10 years of being an automotive journalist and I thought that jumping over to the other side would be more fun. So I went to work for what I thought was the best car company in the world, Porsche. I went to work for Porsche India when they were setting up their India operations. And then very soon, within 8 months, I actually realized that I didn't really enjoy road testing a desk. So I came back, we started Evo magazine, and now it is 10 years of Evo India. And we have another searing yellow Porsche. 10 years later, I still believe Porsche is one of the best car companies in the world. And today, they make insane cars. This is the wildest Porsche. This is almost like a race car for the road. In fact, it's so much of a race car that we've had to come to this wide open playground to play with it today. So before we tell you what the GT3 RS is like here in India, make sure you like this video, share this video with like-minded enthusiasts, stay subscribed to the Evo India channel, and of course, smash that bell icon to stay notified for all our video drops. It's 10 years of Evo in India. There's so much of detailing on the RS is exhausting, but we have to go into some of the main ones. Now, the 911 has always been a practical sports car, especially with the frunk out here. But on the RS, well, this is no longer a frunk. This has now got a central radiator, so you can't store anything on the RS. This actually has been taken from the RSR Le Mans race car. So this is an example of race to road. The lid also, this is carbon fiber. In fact, this car has been optioned with the Weissach pack with all the exposed carbon fiber. Take a guess how much the Weissach pack option costs on the RS. 74 lakh rupees. The front wheel arches have these gills that are cut into the top to relieve pressure, but at the rear, they are cut away. And these doors, they are now carbon doors. These doors are different from any other 911 doors. They are unique to the GT3 RS. You have tons of carbon appendages. This is for aerodynamics, obviously. And this catches a lot of gravel kicked up by the tires. These are Cup 2 tires, specially formulated for the GT3 RS. 20 inches at the front, 21 inches at the rear. And this car, with the Weissach pack, it has got the forged magnesium wheels and also the carbon ceramic brakes. Carbon ceramic brakes, 19 lakh rupees. These winglets that you see on the roof, carbon roof, by the way. So the radiator, it throws out hot air, but these winglets make sure that the hot air gets thrown outside the car and only colder, denser air gets fed to the engine. And obviously, this is a 911. Engine is at the rear. The most visually impressive part about the RS is this massive swan neck wing. Now, some people might hate it, might call it outrageous, but I'm a child of the 90s. When I was growing up, all fast cars had big wings attached to their boots, and I absolutely love it. It screams performance and intent. And of course, it is a functional part. This is Porsche. This is a motorsport part that is actually stuck onto a road car. Now, as you can see, the wing is actually slightly higher than the roof. This is the highest part of the car. And this has a DRS function. So now this wing is in the low downforce setting. But using these electro-hydraulic actuators, you can do it yourself from the inside. It can flip up and act like an air brake. So the wing, it moves from a low downforce setting to an air brake and anywhere in between depending on the requirements of the car. It's also aligned to the flaps in the front, so that adjusts the aero balance all the time. And that has necessitated stiffer springs because of the additional downforce. Also, what you can't see are the channels underneath the car for obviously aero, and this also has optimized A-arms like a Formula 1 car, so that has also been reprofiled for better aero. It's insane, and I'm sure I'm missing out something or the other out here, but this is just incredible, honed in the wind tunnel. There are 14 different vanes under the car, and in total they produce 409 kilos of downforce at 200 kilometers per hour, and it goes up to 860 odd kilos of downforce at 300 kilometers an hour, and that has necessitated 50% stiffer springs compared to the GT3. That's a carbon half cage in the GT3 RS. These are carbon fixed back bucket seats, and you get a proper 6-point racing harness for when you take your car for track days to the BIC or the MMRT. And of course, carbon doors. Sit in the RS, and the first thing that really floors you is the left pod. It says aerodynamics, dynamic downforce, DRS not ready. DRS is something that we only heard about in Formula 1 commentary, and now this is here on a road car. Well, a road car in the loosest possible sense of the term, but DRS on a road car, it's unbelievable. It gives you goosebumps. You get this yellow face tacho that actually is also an option, but that is traditional Porsche, a big tacho in the center. The engine mated exclusively to the 7-speed PDK automatic transmission. The engine remains the 4-liter engine, but there have been considerable improvements to bump up power by 15 bhp. And the sound that it makes, the sensations. I'll put it into track mode. There are 4 dials here. I'll talk about that in a bit. Track mode, launch control, unbelievable. You have this dynamic downforce. Now the wing is in the low drag setting. When you brake, the air brake actually pops up. So the good drivers, the track day specialists, they, before getting into the corner, they'll tap the brake so that you get a little bit more downforce. Then you enter the corner. And talking about corners, so now this is fully rose jointed. The suspension is completely rose jointed like a proper race car. This does not have the traditional 911 front axle. This actually has the double wishbones, which actually created that huge hangama when the GT3 came in. It's got the same suspension setup there. That's been done for more aero. And I can't tell you how noisy it is inside the car. This runway has just been cleaned up. Tomorrow is a drag race out here. But the tires are so sticky, it's picking up all this gravel. You can hear it smashing into the underbody. This is a clean runway. I kid you not. All that aero picks up, all these little gravel patches, it's all there in those aero appendages. You turn in, the immediacy of the turn in. I don't know how we're going to use this on the road. This is a proper track car. You floor it and the way this engine, it revs from 6,000 to 9,000 RPM is astonishing. And natural aspiration always wins. The torque has slightly gone down, but power 518 bhp at 8,500 RPM. It sounds like the devil. I'm going to be screaming at the top of my lungs. 0 to 100. Compared to the GT3, it drops by 0.2 of a second to 3.2 seconds. Its Nürburgring lap time is 10 seconds quicker. 10 seconds. All this aero that you see, 10 seconds quicker. The engine has got hotter, reprofiled cams. The intake system has been reprofiled, and the head has also been redesigned to account for the higher G-forces. And driving it down here, it's stiff. I've got it in the track mode now, and I think now's the time to talk about this 4 little dials out here. So The first one is the drive mode. So you have normal, you have sport, and you have track. To access all other functions, also the DRS function, you need to be in the track mode. Now, ESC and traction control, you can adjust how much intervention you want. So this was the first time I actually saw this was on the AMG GT, where it had that big yellow knob where you can change the traction control intervention. Here you can switch it off completely. You get on, you get different modes for the traction control. PTV Plus, that's torque vectoring. You press this button and then you can trim the torque vectoring. Then you have the active suspension, so you can adjust the compression and rebound on the front and rear dampers from inside the car. In rallying, we used to adjust one click up, one click down, compression, rebound before each stage. Here, you can adjust the compression and rebound from inside both front and the rear. And Porsche have also made sure that if you go completely haywire with the settings, completely mismatch the rear to the front, this will still be okay. So the range of adjustability is not that huge that you will mess up the dynamic balance of the GT3 RS. There's an auto DRS function that activates above 100 kilometers an hour and 95% of throttle travel. Similarly, you have the air brake that lifts the front and rear flaps to give you maximum downforce when you're braking. If you are a wannabe F1 driver, you can also press this DRS button while on the move. And this is a beast. The PTV Plus, you can adjust the lock rate of the rear differential. And I tell you, the thrill of hitting 9,000 RPM, it never wanes. It's so addictive. You can keep doing this until you run out of fuel. And the suspension also feels like a race car. A runway is smooth, but here you feel every single thing. Now this car has got the nose lift. Obviously it's been optioned for India. And I can't imagine taking this out on the road. This is a track day car. I think these paddles are titanium. I'm not sure, but I think they are. They feel unbelievably gorgeous. Okay, it should, because this car is also unbelievably expensive. 3.3 crores in the base setting. This particular car optioned up 4.4 crores. And even if you have 4 crores, 5 crores lying around, you can't get one because the allocation is all sold out. India would have probably got 5 units, 6 units, and that's that. The grip is unbelievable. I've driven grippy cars. Don't get me wrong, I got it all off. TC switched off, ESC switched off, still it is gripping. You have to drive like an absolute lunatic to get it unstuck. I've driven some crazy cars in my 23 years, 24 years of being an automotive journalist, but this is one of those cars that will stick in my head for a very, very long time. Cars like these is the reason why I left automotive journalism to go and work for a manufacturer. These are cars that a boy's dreams are made of. I'm sure a kid now watching this video or reading the story in Evo magazine would probably end up going and working for Porsche. These are cars that dreams are made of. But if I'm being perfectly honest, if you're going to buy a hardcore sports car to use more on the road than on the track, the GT4 RS makes a little bit more sense. This is too hardcore. Even in normal mode, you feel everything. The ride is so firm. And this car won't even get out of this place because there are 2 speed breakers outside and just won't go over the speed breakers. We are in India and you have to realize the ground realities. You can't truck your car and then just drive it on a 5-kilometer section. But on a track, this will be insane. The performance, 9,000 RPM, the turn-in response, the grip, the traction, I'm lost for words, to be honest. It just makes your heart race, it takes your breath away. It is an insane piece of engineering. It is a race car for the road.